Well, that's a wonderful contribution, Akoti Rikwa. Thank you so much for making that available to the sons and the daughters of our King, the Most High Yahweh. Hallelujah. It'd be pretty exciting, and then I'll pull it up so you guys can see what it looks like, and then we can move forward. Matter of fact, let's pull that right quick right now. There it is. I show you my screen. Can you see my screen?
Yes.
It's okay. So it's like a word search, and what we're gonna have to do is, first what she had was just the Hebrew words on the left hand side, and she was gonna force everybody to go ahead and find out what these words mean. And inside, I think that was a little bit too much. So I asked for her to put the English on one side and the Hebrew on the other, because these here are the words that are going to be in the crossword puzzle. So you have to look for them. So,
and you can connect. You can connect the left row and the right. There you go.
So you can do that, right? And so we know mate is a matoth. We know we see a kohen. Kohen is a what? Someone tell me what a kohen is.
Priest.
Yep, kohen is a priest. Don't be shy. You're in class. What's a vow? If you can remember.
An oath.
Yeah, it's an oath. But in Hebrew, it's called nadar. Right here. Nadar. Azanya, go ahead, Akoti.
To ask Akoti Rivka if she included a because she sent this to us today, so Toda, if like an answer sheet, because I'm not sure what everything is in Hebrew, so I just wanted to ask her if she that's in there.
She'll do that. Yeah.
Okay. All right, Toda. Thank you so much.
Absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
Listen, I don't look at it as cheating. Okay, this is how I look at it. I look at it as advanced learning techniques. Okay, we're not familiar with a lot of these things, but we get intimidated. We're scared. Like, I don't know what this is. So because I don't know what it is, I don't want to have nothing to do with it. And that's not how it's supposed to be. So we'll definitely send something over to you that will help assist you in learning what it is. But you got to be honest with yourself and say, okay, well, let me find out the ones that I do know. Like I know what an ish is. So what's an ish? On this, over here.
Man.
Yeah, but also here in Hebrew, it's a husband. Okay. Right. And we got an almanah. And an almanah, just off the top of the na on the end lets us know it's feminine. So we can take some, guesses here, and it's almanah. It's something feminine. So
Widow.
Yeah, thank you. It'd be a widow. Get little clues like that. You got a word called Midian, starts with an M. So you can look over here. Midian. Oh, the Midian. We got a what? Moshe. We have Bilam. So that would be the English is Balaam. Okay. We got a Shalal. Shalal. Nothing. Well, if you did your Torah portion in Hebrew, which, listen, I tell you, reading in English is okay, right? But you should really go to the website of Sepharia or even the BibleHub.com and kind of look at those words. Just kind of get a peek at them. You don't have to try to, remember it. Just look at it.
I used the Sepharia and the words that kind of jumped out at me.
Yeah, Sepharia. So she actually made this up, and she's going to make it up every week. And the words that she'll be including is the ones that are found in the Torah portion. This is Sepharia.com. Oh, forgive my handwriting. Sepharia.com. Sepharia.com is another resource that we use to go there, and I'll show you what it looks like. When you go there, you just find a letter or a word that you're looking at. You press on it, and it will give you the definition, and it'll tell you, it won't tell you how to pronounce it, but it will tell you what it means. Okay. So if you go to the Hebrew class and you learn about the letters and stuff, you'll be like, okay, I'm starting to get this. So you're just familiarizing yourself with the words. Okay. Aved, Aved is a, does anyone know? Aved. It has to do, I'll give you yes, it is. It's a servant. Yes. What's a Rosh?
It's the head.
There you go. See, and then every time you do your Torah portions during the week, you'd be like, you're getting more vocabulary words. You're just adding more and more and more and more. If you can learn what Kohen is, yeah, you can learn what's Devar. What's Devar?
Is it spoke?
Yes, it is spoke. Thank you.
Yeah, I used to do this with the kids in the class, and they would pick up the vocabulary a lot faster.
Here's someone right here called Yitzchak. That's Yitzchak. That's right here.
Jacob.
See? So when we send this over to, and Anasi is a chief, and then you got Yaakov and so forth and so on. So every week we're going to give this out to you guys to help you and assist you in learning the Hebrew definitions and words that are meaningful to you, because this is part of your family. This is your family's history. Okay. So remember, we're no longer doing, we're not a religion. So we don't do religious activities. We are like learn. This is what we do. Yahweh's people are people who's supposed to learn. That's what we have to understand. When Yah's people decide that they don't want to learn and they don't want to teach any longer, then all hell breaks loose in our lives. Our children won't fall in line. You see what I'm saying? Because they don't know what Yahweh has said. Husbands and wives will have a whole bunch of issues. Why? Because they don't know what Yahweh says. You see? So that's how we hold each other accountable. Then you also pick leaders that don't know. Like I told you, I've heard people say that you shouldn't learn this language. You shouldn't. We were never commanded to learn the language. Why would y'all have to tell somebody about the language they already know? Of course, he's not going to tell them you don't have to learn the language. So that's the mindset. That's that laziness that's inside of our people. That's those excuses that we make. You learn everything else you want to learn, but when it comes to learning something that Yah said, then that's where the problem is. And that's an issue. That's the problem for us as a people. So we're going to have to get a little firmer with ourselves. You got to get a little firmer with the Torah. You got to be tough on yourself. You really do. You really have to be about it. And that's something that Yah wants us to understand. So this is what we're going to be doing, for the rest of the time. And it makes it fun. So it's a good thing she'd have put this in Hebrew, right? Because usually she would put the Hebrew words over in it. And then you have to go find that too. So there's different ways you could do it. But anyway, she custom makes these. And thank you so much, Rivka, for that. We'll send this out as well. Okay. So let me do this as well. I did say that I was going to show you the resource, which that's exactly what I want to do. I'm going to take you to the resource right now. And it's Sefaria, right? You can see my screen at the top, SEF. There you are. See it? Sefaria.org. Okay. I said .com is .org. There it is. Boom. SEFARIA.org. As soon as you go there, come on, don't fail me now. It's going to pull up. This is what they would call the Ashken. It's not the Ashkenazi. This is the Sephardic. The Spanish. If you got to see my screen, it's the so-called Spanish Jews. Okay. Stop my share. I got to come back in. Hallelujah. Welcome, Shabbat Shalom Makoti, who just came in. All right. So here we go. This is what it looks like, everyone. Okay, it says browse the library, right? I don't browse the library. I did at one point. They got the Mishnah, the Midrash, the Kabbalah, Jewish thought, the Chassidut, all these other things here, okay? I don't mess with none of this. I'm not here for this. I don't care about what you're talking about. I don't care about none of that. What I care about is this, because in here, there's a great tool that you can use. And I think Akoti Condra, she was up on it. Let me see, someone left a little message here. Shabbat Shalom. Oh, yeah, you're welcome. Toda Rabah. So when you look at it, oh, geez. You get it, and it's a Tanakh. You're going to push on Tanakh. That's what you're going to push on, okay? And it's going to give you Genesis, Exodus, Leviticus, Numbers, and Deuteronomy. And it's going to give you the prophets, and it's going to give you, that. And it's going to give you the Psalms and Proverbs and everything else. It's going to give you everything you need, okay? That's all you want to deal with, okay? So when I talk about going there to find out what words you should go, let's just go to the book of Numbers. We'll go to the book of Numbers, okay? Now we're in the book of Numbers. It says you can start reading, but if you notice at the bottom, it says right here that you can have a Torah portion. They tell you what the Torah portions are, Bamidbar, Naso, Salak, Baha, Kolta, Korach, Balak, and Matoth. We're in Matoth right now, okay? So you just go there if you want to go for the Torah portion, and it'll give you every single day, right? You can see first day, second day, third day. It's all right here. So you click on there, whatever day it is, and you're fine. So let's just click on day number 1 of Matoth. Let's just click on it right quick. Let's click on Matoth. Now they're in Matoth. You see it says, Wayomer Moshe de Ela B'nai of Yisrael. And then they got the English on one side and you got the Hebrew on one side. What I want to show you is the tool, okay, that you can have right here. So if I wanted to find out what this word Matoth is, right here, Hamatoth. If I want to find out what that word is and what it means, what I'm going to do is I'm going to click on it. Let me see, go back over it. I'm going to click on it. I'm going to highlight it like that. And over here, look what it has. On the right-hand side, it's got to double click it. It'll go mate. And a mate is a staff, a branch, and it represents a tribe. Okay. It's letting you know what the Hebrew is, and it's letting you know that it's a noun and it's masculine. Okay. And it's telling you exactly what it represents, these 3 things, right? So that's generally those who are in charge of a tribe, they would usually carry around a staff, and that staff will represent their authority, which we have seen in our Torah portions. Anyone who carried the staff is the one with authority. Remember, Moshe had asked, or Yahweh had told Moshe to tell the children of Israel, the sons of Israel, to bring forth their mate, to bring their staff and put their name on it, and from each tribe, and put it inside of the Mishkan to find out who Yah says that he's chosen to be the one to draw near to him. And it turned out to be Aharon's staff that was there. Okay. So that's what you can do with this tool. It's a great tool that you can look at. Okay. Another feature before we go into our Torah portion, another feature that I want to introduce you to is, like, for example, you have some words that are compound words. Let's just say the word davar right here. I'm going to click on it. You see it turn blue or purple? I'm going to double click, and here it is on the side, and it's called davar. Okay. So when you look at that little handout we have, and you're looking and say, well, this word means speak. So you'll find the English and say speak or spoke. Then you'll be like, well, let me go find out what that word is. And that'll help you remember. You will remember, because you got to search for it. And that's part of the learning experience, is that you and I have to search. We have to ask. We have to ask questions. Our whole life we've been in slavery, whether or not we want to believe it or not. And then the whole thing is, we would be in trouble for asking questions. So what they did to us is to make sure that you don't ask any questions anymore, because you're too afraid to ask questions. That's why people don't ask questions. That's why there's not a lot of conversation between us, is because we don't want to feel foolish, and we don't want to feel dumb, and we don't want to feel like we don't know. So we don't ask questions, and that's something that all of us, including myself, have to put down, because that's not indicative of someone who's humbled. A humble person will ask questions. Okay. So this word davar means to speak, but within that, and it gives you all the different verb tenses that you'll learn about: the call stem, the nafal, the pl, the pual, and the hifael, and the hifel. These are important things for you to know. When I first came to this truth and this knowledge, I was just satisfied with knowing I was one of the sons of Israel, and that I left at this false God. But then when I came over here, I recognized that I didn't know any of these things. I didn't know how the grammar worked. I didn't know the structure, you see? And so if you don't understand how something works, and you don't understand how something's being spoken, you're completely in the dark. You don't know nothing. you know? So let's don't be a surface type of learner. You know what I'm saying? You and I we have to dig deep. And that's what Yah's trying to tell us. Okay. But the feature that I want to bring out as well, it's not just about its verbs and how it's being used, but you can also, let me see here. I'm also looking to see if someone left quick. Okay, there you go. Someone put up that. Everyone, yeah. Also, too, what you have is, I could take half of this word. So is the bar, check this out. I can go right here and I can highlight just those two letters, right? And there it is. See, it'll give you that. You know, it means son. It's a poetic name for a son. It has to do with Aramaic. You see, offspring. Okay, so they'll give you that information. So when any of these Hebrew words, and this is how you will increase your vocabulary. You got the word Moshe. If I just highlight the M right here, right? You got Manashe, it gives you all different types of names that you can look at. Okay. Just the word Shay right here. Look at Shay. It tells you what, or say, it's a book, or excuse me, a lamb, a flock, a sheep, a goat. You see? So within the word of Moshe, you can have the word lamb or goat or flock. So now doesn't it make sense for him to be the leader of a flock? Do you understand? So these are things that you and I should know. And these are things that people need to start talking about. And this is what teachers need to do. I don't need to tell you about my opinion. You don't want to hear about my opinion. You want to hear what Yahweh says. That's all you care about. You should not care about anything else nobody's talking about. I don't care how many songs anybody's singing. I don't care how well they can pray. I don't care about none of that. Because what we need to understand is that we're in a situation where we need to learn. That's what it is. Okay. So that's the tool that you have at your fingertips. You can learn as much as you want to. It's up to the individual. So I would encourage all of us to say, hey, you know what? I want to take it a little step further. I want to know a little bit more than what I already know, you know, and that's good for you because this is what we need, especially in our exile. All right. Let's get to our Torah portion. Hallelujah. And feel free to ask me any questions. You have any concerns, I can answer any question that you have. And if I don't have the answer, I will, you know, seek it out to find out. Oh, listen, there you go. So Yared just put it in the chat that, you know, the website, it has an app and an Android app as well. So you can use it on your phone. I do it all the time. Thank you for that, Yared. Where are we? Here we go. All right, so let's get to our Torah portion. All right, so our Torah portion this week was called Matoth, and we know Matoth means tribes. And, you know, there's a lot that's going on inside of this Torah portion. We first was introduced to the relationship between a man and his wife, and a husband and his wife, excuse me, a father and his daughter. We see that Yah has called for vengeance. We see all these things. We see how the tribes of Reuven and Gad and Manasseh had a lot of cattle, and they wanted, you know, a certain part of the land that they have conquered, and, you know, and they wanted to live there. And Yah, you know, Moshe was upset with them because it seemed like they were trying to discourage the people. But throughout the Torah portion, one theme that keeps sticking out more than anything is about being careful what one says, because our words are binding. So Moshe was telling them, hey, you know, you said that you want to stay here with your oxen and all that, but, and then they came up and said, well, okay, we'll go ahead and we'll fight. We'll leave all of our stuff here and we'll go until all of our brothers inherit their land and so forth, and then we'll come back. And he says, okay, well, let's write that down. You know, let's write that down. And he told Yehoshua, remember this and write it down, because if they don't do what they say, they don't get to have this land, right? So it's a matter of us doing what we say we're going to do. It's a matter of having a vow. We learned earlier this week that if a person makes a vow to Yah, he or she has to keep it. And there are vows that can be made that you and I have the ability to keep, and there's vows that we ask Yah to help us to keep, right? And empower us to do such a thing, like we had with Canaan, or Canaan. She she wanted a child and she wasn't able to have it. So she asked Yah, and she said, if you do this, then I'll give the child to her. And she kept her vow. She kept her word. We see that with Samson. You know, the parents were told you're going to have a child. And this is where the Christians get the theme about a Malach or an angel coming and telling them you're going to have a son. Well, they had a son, and it was through the normal process of a man and a woman coming together, and she got impregnated, and they had a son named Samson or Shimshon, and he was done by a nadar as well, meaning a vow. So vows are very important. If you say something, you have to make sure that you follow up on what you said. Hallelujah. All right. The Torah portion is called Matoth, about tribes, but I want to introduce you to what I was able to see through the Torah portion. What I was able to see through the Torah portion is this idea that they call Kavod Malkuth. Okay. And the Kavod Malkuth has to do with, the Kavod means glory. Okay. And the Malkuth is kingdom. Okay. So in this case, it would be the glory of the kingdom or the glorious kingdom. Okay. We find that Yah has consistently been showing Israel that they're going to have to go to war. Okay. And there's all these different elements to our tribes, our matov, that you and I have never been told about. Okay. We are part of what they call a Kavod Malkuth. We're part of a glorious kingdom. And in our kingdom, war is going to be part of that. And part of our kingdom vows are held at the highest degree. This is the reason why Yah is so hard on us, is because we said something, our ancestors said that they would do everything that he said, and they did not fulfill their vow. They did not do what they said they were going to do. It's like a marriage contract called a ketubah. If you say you're going to do something, you have to do it, and it has to be bound. You're binding yourself to that person or to whatever that agreement is based upon your words. So because you and I are the children of the king of this kingdom, he holds us in a higher sense of responsibility. You and I just cannot say things and just think we can't follow up with it. Okay. So you see several different words up on here. I have, you're going to see some English words. You're going to see more Hebrew words than you've ever seen before. And that's okay. I can't write English all the time. I just can't. It's not fair to you. I know you don't say, well, that doesn't seem fair to us. No, this is what it has to be. This is what it's going to be. Okay. You have to know what a Melech is if you're part of the kingdom. If you're part of the Kavod and the Malkuth, you will know what a Melech is. Because a Melech is a what? Somebody tell me. What's a Melech?
A king.
A Melech is a king. Okay. So that's the first definition. Okay. Awesome. Within this Melech and within this Malkuth, because Malkuth comes from Melech, Malkuth. Okay. The Malkuth is the first, is the M, which is the Melech. Okay. And then you have the L here, and then you have the K here. That's, look, I wrote it in English, is the Kaf. Okay. That's Melech right here. You can see it right there. That's Melech. It's right in this word. M-L, there it is. This Uth right here means the dominance of the king, the reign of the king. So Malkuth has to do with Melech, and Melech has to do with the king. A Malka, it's a Malka. Luke, here's M-L-K, and then it has an I on the end. What is it?
Queen.
There you go. See? So once you start learning your letters, then you'll be able like, oh, that's the same letters as those. Okay, and then it got the I. Oh, that's feminine. That's a queen. So right now, we have a Melech, okay? And our Melech is over the Malkuth. Our Melech deals with, our king deals with vengeance, okay? So with vengeance, there's war, okay? With war and battle, there will be spoils, okay? This is real. This is real time. If you notice the background that I have, usually I would have something that deals with the wilderness and has something to do with the earth. Now we're in the heavens, Okay, where the galaxies and the stars, the Kukivim, and the glory of the heavens is through the one who's made it, which is the king that you and I serve. Okay. That naquam is the word for vengeance. That's what vengeance is. Naquam. Okay. Naquam is vengeance. And I'll talk a little bit more about that. That's the first thing we're going to talk about is vengeance. Okay. Because that's what our Melech has called for his sons and his daughters to do, to take vengeance. The next word we have here, it looks like in English. What do you think this is in English? What does it look like? Right here. What's this word in English?
Looks like evil.
Evil, right? Yeah, it's spelled just like that, right, in English. But the true word, how you pronounce the word is called avil. Okay, like avil, okay? And avil means to be foolish, okay? And it means to be stupid, okay? That's what it means. So we got vengeance, naquam. We have over here, shalal, which you'll see in your little handout. It'll be a shin, a lamed, and a lamed, sha'al or shalal, okay? So you got shalal. Shalal means spoils, okay? And then one of my favorites that I discovered during our Torah portion is called Makis, Mehkes, Makis. And Makis basically means that the king, the king wants something from the people. Tell me, what does the king want from his people? Take a guess.
Obedience.
Yeah, he wants that, but this in particular king says he wants taxes.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. All right. So we got spoils, we got taxes, we got vengeance, which we know that has to do with war, okay, and battle. And then we got the foolish. That's what we have. And then we have our king, okay, and who's in part of a kingdom. And our king is responsible for every star by name, every sun, moon, everything. Everything belongs to our king. Just trying to put it out there. Okay. I don't know if you can visually see it. I see it now, but when I set this up, I really didn't recognize it. It looks like an eye, doesn't it? Doesn't it look like an eye? Like this is an eye that's looking at you. All right. So I need you to write these things down because it'll give you a better understanding. So we're here to learn. All right. I'm going to teach you these things. So the first thing we're talking about is a naquam. And from its Hebraic understanding, this word right here called quam means to rise. And we get our word kum, and kum means to rise. So quam and kum are just exactly the same. Kum, you know how you say kumbaya? Means rise. But you think our people are just saying to rise. They also mean to rise and to what? Rise and to raise what? Your hand. For what? Why do you want Yah to pick his hand up? Why do you want him to stand up? Because this word has to do with what? Vengeance. Yah's raising his hand to strike. Vengeance. You understand? This is something that you and I we weren't taught. Okay? And that's okay. But naquam means to rise. And we're asking Yah to naquam, we're asking him to rise. I want to let you know that there is a song that we're not gonna read the whole entire song, but there's a song that Yahweh told Moshe to learn and to teach to the children of Israel. Okay, and let's read it. It's found in the book of Davarim, chapter number 32. So this can give us a little background. This is what Yahweh said. Yahweh said to Moshe, you are about to sleep, like he told in the Torah portion. You're about to go to sleep with your ancestors, but this people, meaning the children of Israel, will get up and offer themselves as prostitutes to the foreign gods of the land where they're going. When they are there with those gods, they will abandon me. That's what they're going to do. And they're going to break my covenant that I've made with them. Okay. So we're going to abandon him. We're going to break the covenant. And then my anger will flare up. That's what's going to happen. My anger is going to flare up and I will abandon them. I know everyone wants to say that he's with us and that, truly, as a nation. No. You need to put everything in its proper context. Yah says, I will abandon them. Why? Because they abandoned me. Now, is this forever? No, it's for a certain period of time. He said, and I will hide my face from them and they will be devoured. Devoured has to do with the idea of lakem. And lakem in Hebrew means bread. And bread is made and produced in order to be devoured. The word lakem has to do with this word called milkama. From lakem, right here. It's in there. That word lakem is in there. That means to be devoured. Milkama means battle. And it means to be at war. Okay? That's what it means. Milkama means battle, it means war, it means a soldier. So Yah is letting us know that the way that you and I are going to be devoured are going to be done through military campaigns. This is what's going to happen. Yah has used plenty of people, the Babylonians, the Egyptians, the Syrians, the Philistines. Okay, he's used all of them. Okay, he's brought the Babylonians, the Grecians, the Romans. Okay, all of them have been brought upon us. And many calamities and troubles will come upon them. This is what Yah is telling Moshe before he goes to sleep with his ancestors. He said, then they'll ask, haven't these calamities come upon us because our Elohim isn't here with us? Okay, but I will be hiding my face from them because of all the evil, not the Evel, not this, not the Avel. Is the evil, the Ra that they have done in turning to other gods. Therefore, write this song for yourselves and teach it to the sons of Israel. Have them learn it by heart so that this song can be a witness for me against the people of Israel. We do a lot of dancing and a lot of singing and we got a lot of songs, but I'm going to tell you something. I have never heard anybody sing this song. The most important song in the Torah is this song. It's a song of witness. And Yah wants us to understand that this is what you and I need to be singing. You can sing all you want, but this song consists of 40-something verses. And in those 40 verses, we don't have it all. I'm not going to put it all up here. But it tells us how Yah feels about us and what he's going to do. It's a witness. Okay, it's a story, but it's a witness. He tells us, and Yah uses songs to express what he is going to do. Okay, so this first one that we're going to go to, he wants them to learn how to sing a song of witness. This is part of it. He says, yes, Yahweh will judge his people. This is part of the song. This is a verse in it. Yahweh will judge his people, taking pity on his servants. Okay, not all Israel. Not all Israel is Yahweh's servants. He's going to take pity on his servants. When he sees that their strength is gone and that no one is left, slave or free. What does he mean by that? There's no one left. There's no slave and there's no freedom. Meaning like you're not in a situation of a slave, but neither are you free. That's when Yah's going to, when all of our strength is gone. We don't have a hand. We don't have a hand in anything. We can't deliver ourselves. Then he will ask. This is what the Creator says he's going to ask in his song. Where are their gods? The rock. Like the New Testament in 1 Corinthians chapter number 10, that Paul, the tent maker, said that Christ is the rock of the church. Where's the rock? In whom they trusted. Where is he at? Who ate the fat of their sacrifices and drank the wine of their drink offering. Where is he? Let him get up and help you. Let him get up and help you. Right? Let him protect you. Why? Because there's something that's called trouble that's coming. This is in Jeremiah, Yirmiyahu, chapter number 30, what they call the time of Jacob's trouble. It's a day. Okay? So see now that I am he. And there is no God besides me. I put to death, I make alive, I wound, I heal. No one saves anyone from my hand. This is a song. that Yah says that I need you to memorize, because there's coming a time when Yah is going to judge his people. Also, part of this song, Yah had brought out and said this. He wants the nations to sing out. He wants them to sing out. Part of this song says, for I lift up my hand to heaven and I swear as surely as I'm alive forever. Our creator has never died. He will never become a man and he will never die. If I sharpen my flashing sword and set my hand to judgment, I will render vengeance. That vengeance right there is the Naquam. I will render Naquam to my foes and repay those who hate me. I will make my arrows drunk with blood. If you notice, he says, I will. This is a promise. I will do this, okay? I will make my arrows drunk with blood. My sword will devour flesh, the blood of the slain and the captives, flesh from the wild hair heads of the enemy. Then he tells them to do something. Sing out, you nations, about his people, for he will avenge. That word avenge is Naquam. Naquam is vengeance. Naquam is avenge the blood of his servants. Yahweh is going to avenge the blood of his servants. Every drop of blood that's ever been spilt from the time that we were in the land until the time and when we're out in the nations, Yah says, I am going to avenge the blood of my servants. He will render vengeance, Naquam, to his adversaries and make atonement for the land of his people. In this in particular part right here, he's not talking to the children of Israel. He's talking to the nations of what he plans on doing to them. And after he finished doing it to them, he wants them to sing out a song. Sing out a song. And it's not going to be a nice song. They're going to sing a song about this vengeance of Yah. What else is part of it? Here you go. The last thing right here is that David says, hallelujah. What did he say? He says, sing to Yahweh a new song. You know, when I was reading the Psalms, and I've been reading them every day along with the Torah portions, what I found is David and them is always, in the Levim, are always encouraging us to sing a song. But he tells us here a new song. Why this new song? Because this new song right here is the opposite of the song that is in Deuteronomy chapter number 32. The first song that we're supposed to learn and rehearse and sing is the one that has to do with vengeance. That's what that first song is about. So in the scriptures, you're going to find all these different songs, S-O-N-G-S, okay? So this one says sing a new song. See, there's different types of songs that are to be sung out of your hurting, your pain. But now he says the last song that you and I are going to sing is going to be a new one. And this new song, his praise in the assembly of the what? Of the faithful. This is what the faithful are going to sing. The people that he said I want to deliver, the faithful servants of Yahweh, is those who are faithful to him who is in his assembly. He says, let Israel rejoice in their maker. Let Zion's children take joy in their king. Let them praise his name with dancing and make a melody to him with the tambourine and lyre. For Yahweh takes delight in his people. He crowns the humble with salvation. Okay, so who's he crowning? Those who are humble. Who's he crowning? Those who've been faithful. Who's he crowning? Those who have been faithful to what he has said. Let the faithful exult gloriously. That's that kavod. Let them sing for joy on their beds, and let the high praises of Elohim be in their throats. But a two-edged sword in their hands to carry out what? Naquam. I want you to do Naquam on the nations and the punishment of the peoples. To do what to them? I need you to bind their kings with chains, and I need you to put their nobles in irons to execute the judgments decreed for them, for this will glorify all his faithful. Hallelujah. That's what Yah says. So what is he saying? He's telling us what our end is going to be through a song. Yah is empowering Israel because Israel is Yahweh's army. That's their job, is to go ahead and to subdue these people. If you read in the book of Joshua, he killed over 31 kings. What I find to be interesting about our king, about our Melech, and about our Kavod Malkuth, our kingdom, our glorious kingdom, is that our king, hear me, and I need you to hear me well, our king will never be dethroned. Your king will never die. Your king will never be crucified. Your king will never be spit upon. Your king will never be put to shame. Your king will never leave his throne, ever, because his throne is in the heavens. So you and I don't have to worry about him not keeping his word. We notice in all of the writings that they had several kings. Israel as a nation had kings. Yehuda had their kings. There was all Israel's kings from the northern kingdom was all evil. Every last one of them were evil. And there were only a few in the Judah and Yehuda that were faithful to Yah. There were good kings. But we know for sure that our king, Yahweh, is always going to be faithful. He's always going to be good. And he has declared himself to be our king. He will never be deposed as a king. Therefore, because he'll never be deposed as a king, then you know for sure when he says that he's going to do something, he's going to do something. He's going to bring vengeance. Okay? Let's deal with Abel. Put the pieces together. There's another kingship that has been that are in the world right now that's going on. There's the kingship of the Greeks and the Romans that have been going down through generation and generation. Okay? And the holidays that you and I have been exposed to are from the Greeks and from the Romans. The Greeks are dealing with your math and your science, okay, and your philosophy, okay. Your Romans, this is where you're going to get your romanticizing and your love and your other holidays and the days of your week and your calendars, okay. This is what you're going to get from them, all right. They have a kingship. And their king, and listen to what their king wants you to understand. This is what their so-called king had said. You have heard that our fathers were told, an eye for an eye and a tooth for a tooth. But I tell you not to stand up against someone who does you wrong. You hear what he just said? Don't stand up against anyone who does you wrong. Lay down and take it. On the contrary, if someone hits you on the right cheek, you let them hit you on the left cheek too. I have down here an anonymous author because this is coming out of the book of Matthew, that they named the book of Matthew 100 and something years later after the supposed dissension of this in particular human God called Jesus Christos. Okay. They don't know who the author is. But if you want to look at it, you can find it in book of Matthew, chapter number 5. And the guy who's saying this, they said that he is one of the children of Israel from the tribe of Yehuda. And this is what this man said. He told you that you heard that our fathers were told an eye for an eye and a tooth for a tooth. But I tell you not to stand up against someone who does you wrong. In our Torah portion this week, we found out that Yah says, I commission you to go to war. And I want you to kill everybody except for the virgins. That's what our Elohim said. This guy tells you not to stand up. Under the kingship of these people right here, there won't be any vengeance. Somebody can actually do you wrong and you never can say anything about it. Don't worry about it. Just turn the other cheek. Let them hit you on the right and the left, right? Me, Amar. Me means who? And Amar means said. So who said? That's what we want to find out. Who said this? Listen to the distinctions and the differences between the kingship of our Malkuth, our Kavod, and this one. Under this so-called new covenant that you find in the New Testament, this anonymous author writes this. The same one who just spoke over where we just read. You have heard that our fathers were told, love your enemies. And love your neighbors and hate your enemy. But I tell you, love your enemies. Pray for those who persecute you. Then you will become the children of your Father in heaven. For he makes the sun to shine on the good and the bad and people alike and sends rain to the righteous and the unrighteous alike. This is under the new covenant. These are the words that are binding, and people who believe these words and hold on to them, because when I told you our words are binding, and that's what binds you to the covenant. If you do this, then you're part of the new covenant. So in order for you to get into the new covenant, you have to do this. You have to love your enemies. That's what you have to do in this in particular covenant, to be part of it. And then you will become the children. So he's speaking as if the sons and the daughters of Israel are not Yah's children until they do this. This is all a trick to get us to leave the covenant of Yahweh and to stay with this new covenant, because it is binding. If someone takes part of this covenant, and if they recite these words, listen to me carefully, they have bound themselves to this God, just like they happened at the festival of Baal Peor. That festival, he says that they have bound themselves. How did they bind themselves to it? They bound themselves in several ways. They did it sexually, but they also did it by worshiping and bowing themselves down and subscribing to the way that these people are introduced to them. You understand? So we have been given this other God because our creator was angry with us and said, hey, I'm going to send you somewhere. And when you get there, you're going to serve the gods of wood and stone, and you're going to bow down to them. Well, why would he send us somewhere for this to happen to us? So you can get the contrast and you can see the difference to see whether or not you would do what he said. This guy said, I tell you. I'm telling you. So he said, you've heard. Where did they hear it from? A lot of people say they heard it from Moses or Moshe. Guess who told Moshe? Somebody tell me. Yahweh told Moshe. So the very words that he's saying here that you heard, our fathers heard, were not Moshe's words. They were words from the Creator. But he's going around and saying, but I will tell you, I'm telling you to love your enemies. This other, the one who told you that you heard from Yahweh, that he doesn't even mention his name. Why didn't he mention that Yah said it? You see? They're trying to get you off of it so you can get into the new covenant. Why? Ma Amar Yahweh. What did Yahweh say? Ma, what did Yahweh say? Amar said, Yahweh, what did he say? Yahweh said to Moshe, write this in a book to be remembered and tell it to Yehoshua. I will completely blot out memory of the Amalek from under the heavens. Moshe built an altar and called it Yahweh Nisi. Yahweh is my banner and my miracle, and said, because his hand is against the throne, because their hand was against the throne of Yah, Yahweh will fight the Amalek generation after generation. I put this here, okay, about this Zikaron Sefer, because according to what we just learned in what they call the New Testament and the New Covenant, it says that you should love your enemies. Well, how is it that we're supposed to love our enemies? And Yah has commanded a Zikaron Sefer, a book of remembrance, to be recognized forever about a family that he says that I am against these people generation after generation, to continually to fight against them. How is it that Yah tells us that we should destroy our enemies, and this guy over here is telling that you should love your enemies and that you should give them something cold to drink? Did Yah tell Israel through our Torah portion, when you go to the Midians, to sit down and have a meal with them? Did he tell them to give them food? Did he tell them to give them water? Did he tell them to do any of those things? No, he didn't. You see? So there's a difference between our Elohim, our king, and their king. Okay, it makes it virtually impossible for us to follow the Torah in its concepts, in its understanding, if you and I are following another God. This God over here says that you should love your enemies and give them something to drink. This God tells you that you're supposed to lay down. This God tells you you're supposed to feed them. This God tells you you should pray for them. This God tells you all these different things. That's not our Elohim. Evel, who's foolish? I'm going to tell you about the writings of Paul, who's a Roman citizen. I call him a Torah traitor. Listen what this traitor said. He says, never seek revenge, my friends. Instead, leave that to God's anger. From the Tanakh, it is written, the Lord says, vengeance is my responsibility and I will repay. He didn't say that it was his responsibility. They added that. He said, it's mine. And he can use whoever he wants to execute the judgment to whoever he wants to use to move men and to move things in order to get his vengeance upon his enemies.
That's right.
On the contrary, if your enemy is hungry, feed him. This is what Paul says. If he's thirsty, give him something to drink. For by doing this, you will heap fiery coals of shame on his head. Really? Is this what it's about? Do not be conquered by evil, but conquer evil with good. That's Greek philosophy. That's Greek philosophy. You and I will be a traitor to our king if we adopt this mindset. It is this mindset right here that has allowed the things to happen to our people and never once of us to really stand up and try to go as a nation to fight against these people. This mindset right here. Yes. This mindset, you're right, Fanta. This mindset right here. It's contradictory, it's confusing. As long as you think that you're going to heap some coals of shame. Do you know our enemies don't feel any shame? They love it when you kiss their behind and you tell them, hey, here you are, master. Would you like an extra glass of lemonade? Here you go, master. Oh, step on my back. Here you go, master. Yes, you can rape my wife and you can rape my daughters. Yes, you hung him because of this and this and that. It's okay that we died on ships. It's okay. It's okay that we don't have any rights. It's definitely okay. You see, that's the mindset of a fool. That's the mindset of a traitor. So people are listening to the words of the writings of a man who was had an issue with his eye and he was blind. So he's a tent maker and / he wants to be a Pharisee and all these different types of things. This is what he said. This is what's getting our people. And they're using Yah's word. Remember, we read in Psalms 139 where David had said that your enemies have used your name and used your laws in order to benefit themselves and come up with crafty schemes. Yes, you're absolutely right, Gil. And then the wicked don't find themselves guilty. Just keep bringing them cold drinks and refreshing things, and you're fine. That's a veil. That's foolish. That's really dumb, and it's stupid. And Yah's telling us that if you're part of my kingdom, I don't want you to be dumb. I don't want you to be stupid. If I told you that you have an enemy, you should understand who that enemy is. I'm telling you that I'm going to destroy every last one of your enemies. I'm telling you I'm bringing vengeance and I'm going to avenge the blood of my servants. I'm telling you that I'm going to put an end to the nations. I'm telling you, whoever put their hands on you, I'm going to destroy them. I'm the Melech HaKavod. I'm the King of glory because I have a glorious kingdom. And listen what our Creator has said, our King. He said, if a malicious witness comes forward, okay, and this is in regards to what was just spoken by the kingdom or the kingship of the Greeks and the Romans and the mindset and the philosophies. He says, if a malicious witness comes forward and gives false testimony against someone, both the men involved in the controversy are to stand before Yahweh, before the Kohanim and the judges in office at the time. The judges are to investigate carefully. If they find that a witness is lying and has given false testimony against his brother, this is court. You are to do to him what he intended to do to his brother. In this way, you will put an end to such wickedness among you. Those who remain will hear about it and be afraid and no longer commit such wickedness among you. Show no pity. Show no pity. Life for life, eye for eye, tooth for tooth, hand for hand, foot for foot. Who said it? So when this, you almost made me cuss this man out and call him a bastard. He said that you have heard that it's been said. You heard what this mamser just said? He said that you heard that it's been said. You heard that it's been said, but I say unto you, the words that I've just read to you in Deuteronomy 19 are the words from the creator of the heavens and the earth. He said, show no pity. Life for life. If you wanted to have somebody life taken because you wanted to lie, you gonna lose your life. Eye for eye, tooth for tooth. You knock out your slave's tooth, you got to let them go free. There has to be some compensation. You took somebody's eye out, guess what? We're not going to take your eye out, but you're going to pay the compensation. It's because these people don't understand. Oh, well, you know, if your eye offend you, pluck it out. Yah never told us to do that. Yah says a hand for a hand. What is he talking about? A foot for a foot. Guess what he's saying? Guess what our Creator is saying? Guess what our righteous King is saying? He's saying measure for measure. You can't say that something happened to my hand, but I'm going to try to take the life of somebody. It's a life for a life. It's what you would call equal measures. It's equality. That's what God's talking about. He's talking about equality. Let your judgment be equitable. If you put it on the scales, you can't have a crime or an offense that had to do with the tooth, and you're going to compare it to something that happened to someone's foot. You can't do that. Another example for an eye, tooth for a tooth is about what happens to a woman through a child. Like a woman and she's pregnant and her husband gets into a fight with a man. The men are scuffling. She gets involved. The baby gets hurt. Well, the baby dies. So what do? They kill the person that the baby dies? No. Guess what they said? Oh, the husband has to set a price for the life. Life for life. You got to pay that which is equivalent to the life of that child. That's what it means. But when you have a whole bunch of Greeks and Romans, and you got a whole bunch of homosexuals and a whole bunch of philosophers teaching you about what the Creator said and trying to turn it and twist it, you're going to get the wrong idea about what Yahweh was saying. Okay? Our King is measurable, and he's just. This is the reason why he says if anybody brings a false testimony against his brother, then you are not to show any pity. You're supposed to do to him what he wanted to do to his brother. Doesn't seem here, love them, does it? Love your brother and forgive him and let him go, does it? No. Yah's not letting anybody go. If you told somebody you were going to do something and you don't follow through with it, you're going to hold the guilt of it. That's what it is, because we're part of what you call a Kavod Malkuth, and it's ruled by a Melech HaKavod, a king of glory. My question then would be, Mahuze, me, who is he? Who is this? Who is this Melech HaKavod? Who is he? Mehuze, Mehuze. Mehuze. Who's the Mehuze? The Mehuze, his name is Yahweh. Who is he? This glorious king. His name is Yahweh. He's strong and mighty. Yahweh. He's mighty in battle. That right there is Gabor Milkama. He's mighty in battle. That's the Elohim. That's our king. Lift up your heads, O you gates. Saul, the Sha'avrim, the Rashakim, the Wahenesu, the Saul, lift them up, you Pithkei Olam, you everlasting doors, that the glorious king may enter. Who? The Yavod, the Meleka HaKavod. Who is he? Muhuze. Who is this glorious king? His name is Yahweh Zavot is who? He's the glorious king. Hallelujah. Why? It's mentioning Yahweh Zavaoth because it's Yahweh Zavaoth who's over the armies. That's why he's strong and mighty in battle, because the battle is coming. You need to hear what he's telling us today. You think people are worried about World War III? You're worried about the war that's going on in Ukraine. You're worried about the war with China. You're worried about all these other wars. You need to be worried about this war. This is a war that's coming. When it mentions him strong in battle, he's strong and he's mighty, and his name is Yahweh. And they're asking a question, who is he? What gates are opening? You better hear what he's saying. The gates that hold the difference between the heavens and the earth, he's coming through those gates. He's coming through the gates. He has gates set up on the four corners of the earth. And he's coming through those gates. Open the gates so he can come in. And who is he? He's Yahweh Zavaoth. He's the Melech HaKavod. He's the one. There will be no pity shown to the wicked. Amalek, our king, knows. Listen what he says. He says, even if pity was shown to the wicked, even if Canaan and graciousness was shown to the wicked, he still doesn't learn what righteousness is. In a land of uprightness, he will still act wrong and fail to see the majesty of this Malek HaKavod, Yahweh. He will not give Yah the praise. Yahweh, you raised your hand, but they still didn't see. Yet with shame, they will see your zeal for your people. Who's going to see this? The nations. This is what Yah is trying to prepare you and I for, is that he's going to show them who he is. Yah has a burning desire and a zeal for his people. Yes, your fire will destroy your enemies. Win. So, lift up the gates and let the King of Glory in. He's coming. And he's coming with fire and he's coming with zeal. And the zeal is for his people. It's for his faithful, for his servants. Yes, he'll judge his people. Hallelujah. But there will never be any pity shown to the wicked. I don't care who you are. I don't care how long you've been on this earth. I don't care how old you are. I don't care how many times you read the Torah. If you turn your back on the Malek HaKavod, you will not receive no pity. You're not going to receive it. Not going to receive it. The shalal is the spoils. In any type of battle, any type of milkama, any type of war, there's always going to be plunder. There's always going to be spoil. There's always going to be a shalal. Okay, the shalal means to draw out. Okay, in a sense that the battle's been going on, it's been raging. People are crying. There's fire. There's smoke. There's screaming and hollering. Ah! Everybody's going crazy and they're just getting killed. And then after all is done, after the smoke is still going up and there's silence because the blood has been shed, there's a sense of quietness. This is what's going to happen on the earth when Yahweh comes. After the battle, there will be quietness. Even in this word Sha'al, there's this idea of a request. Do what? To seek out, to understand the unknown. Meaning when people finish killing and they finish going through their battle, they go along and they ask themselves, hey, what is this? Can we use this? Let's get this. Oh, here's some gold. Here's some silver. Okay, go ahead and bring this over here. Okay, we don't know. All right, how much of this do we have? This is what we're talking about. That's the shalal. Okay. And the question is, Mizeh, in your right-hand corner, Mizeh. Who is this? Who is this? Who is this Milkama? It's Yahweh. Yahweh will go out like a soldier. That word soldier has Milkama, meaning battle. Like a soldier roused to fury of battle, he will shout, yes, he will raise the battle cry as he triumphs over his foes. He triumphs over them. Have you noticed that this is about a war? This is about Yah taking vengeance for his people. He says, for a long time, I've held my peace. I've been very quiet. I've been silent, restrained myself. Now I will shriek like a woman in labor, panting and grasping for air. I will devastate mountains and hills, wither all the vegetation, and turn the rivers into islands and dry up the lakes. This is what's going to happen. In Milkamah, in battle, there will be devastation. Our king is bringing devastation. Azania's doing a series right now. She's putting together talking about the judgments of Yah that's being released upon the earth. This is nothing compared to what's going to happen. Milkamah. Battle. Who is this Mizeh? As we saw, Mizeh who? Mizeh who? Amazuhe. Yahweh HaKavod. Sheva. What is Sheva? Sheva has to do with the number 7. And it has to do with the number 7 because it has to do with an oath. It has to do with the word that you would understand as a promise. That's what a Sheva is. Like the 7th day is a promise. It's an oath. It's a covenant. It's a sign. So what is Yah going to tell us about? Since he's in this battle format and he's ready to go to war, what is he telling us? He says, I promise to tell you something, and I want you to hear me, Yisrael. This is Yahweh's promise, but all who devour you will be devoured. All your enemies will go into exile. Those who plunder you will be plundered, and those who pillage you will be pillaged. You better hear what he said. Everybody who's ever put their hands on us is going to be dealt with when Yahweh brings that war. When they bring that war, he promises to do this for us. This is what he promised. But who shall give this to us? What is Yahweh going to give? And that's called the min natan. Min means who? Who? Natan, to give. Min natan. Min natan. Who will set this as so? Who will give this? Well, the king knows. Listen to what your king has said. Listen what he says. But this is a people who, Yisrael, pillaged and plundered and trapped in holes and sequestered in prisons. Is this true? Yes. They are there. You better hear what he's telling you and I. They are there. They are where? In the nations. They are sent there to be plundered. I sent you here to be plundered. I sent you with no one to rescue you. That's why I told you in the song in Deuteronomy chapter number 32 that I want to see when you cry out, where's your God at? Because I'm going to have you plundered. I'm going to have you put in holes. I'm going to have you in prison. I'm going to have them pillage you. I'm going to have them destroy you. I'm going to have them devastate you, because my goal is to raise a battle and to come and to destroy and to devastate all of your enemies. They are there to be plundered with no one to rescue them. They will be pillaged, and no one says, return them. Nobody yet has opened their mouth in the United States of America or any other country around the world that said, return those people to their land. Ain't nobody said it out of all this time. Which of you will listen to this? Which of Yahweh's people would listen? Who? Who would listen and give heed to the times to come? Who would open their ears to hear what's coming? Who gave Yaakov to be pillaged? That's the question. Yisrael to the plunderers. Didn't Yahweh, against whom we have sinned and whose ways they refused to walk, whose Torah they did not obey? This is the reason why we were sent here. Is because you and I have sinned against the Holy One, the Malek HaKavod. This is the reason why you and I have been sent here, because they refuse to walk in the Torah, because they refuse to keep the Shabbat, because they refuse to grow their beard, because they refuse to eat what he says, refuse to wear the tzitzis, refuse to humble themselves, refuse to live up to the covenants that they said, refuse to honor their commitments. This is the reason why. They refuse to obey the Torah. This is why he poured out his blazing anger as well as his fury of battle. Every time the guy's put his hands on us, he's been fighting against us. It wrapped him in flames, and yet he learned nothing. It burned him, and he did not take it to heart. Israel is still not thinking about it. That's how bad the situation is. We have been put here to be plundered. We've been put here to be put in prison because Yahweh is tired of his people doing what they want to do. We're going to be ruled by our Malek HaKavod. Hallelujah! Yom, what day? There's a day. There's a Yom. Yom Zeh, what day? Woe, listen carefully. Gil touched on it earlier. Woe to those who enact unjust decrees and draft oppressive legislation. The governments that are around the world right now are actively enacting decrees and drafting oppressive legislation against Yisrael. But there's a woe for them. I hope they're hearing it today. To deprive the impoverished of justice. Our people are impoverished. And they do not get the justice they deserve. And they're robbing Yahweh's people of their rights and looting the widows and preying on the orphans. What will you do on the day of punishment? That's the question. He's not just talking to Yisrael. He's talking to any nation, any people who are in charge of doing legislation or writing decrees or enacting laws against us or against anybody. Do you understand? When calamity comes from afar, what are you going to do? There's a day of punishment. To whom will you flee for help? There won't be anybody to help anybody on this day. You understand? Where will you leave your wealth? All these people that are going around and they're wealthy and they're rich and they got all these big, huge bank accounts. There's nothing that anybody to have on that day that's going to save them from Yahweh's judgment. They're going to squat there right along with the rest of the prisoners, and they're going to be laying there right along with the dead. That's what's going to happen. And even after all this, Yahweh's anger still remains. His upraised hand still threatens. Why? Because at that moment, in context, he's talking to Israel, telling them, hey, you know what? You guys have been acting a fool. And guess what? I'm going to make it happen for you. But guess what? You and I are under the authority of people who make unjust decrees and legislations, is more specifically against us. They design food just so they can kill us. I hope you understand that. This is what they do. There is not shalom. There is what you call shalem. Shalem has the same root of shalal. There's the shin, the lamed, right here. This is what they would call an adopted root, in the shalem means not shalom. Shalem means to be paid. Okay, I'm going to pay you back. You're going to be paid. That's what we call recompense, revenge. That's what's going to happen. Okay, this is what's going to happen for the people who have done what they're supposed to have done. So what's next? So after Yah's paid everybody, guess what's going to happen? Yahweh will have compassion on Yaakov. After everything we've been through, Yah is going to have compassion on us. Yahweh will once again choose Israel, and he's going to resettle them in their own land, where foreigners will join them. Foreigners will join Israel, attaching themselves to the house of Yaakov. When he talks about the house of Yaakov, he's talking about Matoth. Matoth is the tribes. That's who they are. The 12 tribes, not 10, not 5, not 2, 12. The whole entire house of Yaakov. So we're not talking about a few people going back to the land. We're not talking about some individuals going to what they call the land of peace. We're talking about the whole entire house of Yaakov. Yahweh will have compassion on Yaakov. Not on some of us, on all of us. This is in Yashayahu 14. Now listen to this. Peoples will take and escort them to their homeland, and the house of Israel will possess them in the land of Yahweh as what? Male and female slaves. Oh yeah. Just like after the battle in our Torah portion, they took the females. God says here, you're going to take male and female slaves. These are the survivors from the places Yah has destroyed. And they will take their captors captive and rule over their oppressors. So everything that you're going through right now, and you feel like you're being oppressed, because you are, okay? Yah says, I'm going to give you rule over your oppressors. Your captors that took you, you're going to take them. Remember, he told us, I'm going to put a sword in your hand, and you're going to put kings and chains and iron on their rulers and their nobles. This is Yah's intention for Israel, for the house of Yaakov. Then Yahweh gives you rest from your suffering. Yah knows what suffering you and I are experiencing. He understands our suffering. He understands our trouble. Right now, you don't have any rest. We don't have any safe place, any refuge from the trouble that's hitting us as a nation. Okay, and from hard service. Yah has put a hard service on us, and he's imposed this upon us. And the prison houses that we're being sequestered in, you're going to be released from it. The hard labor and the service that's been imposed on you is going to take it off of you. You will take up this taunt song. Now you go sing a song. And you're going to sing it against the king of Babel, here prophetically speaking about this in particular nation, where you will call the place where you and I are now. At last, the oppressor is still. The arrogance is ended. Yahweh has broken the staff of the wicked and the scepter of rulers. He which furiously struck down peoples in unceasingly blows, angrily beating down nations with relentless persecution. The whole earth is at rest and quiet. When? After the battle. It's after the battle. Then they'll break into song. That's why you got to see the connection. God tells you, I need you to sing this song in Deuteronomy 32. That's the song I want you to sing. I want you to know what I intend on doing to the people. I want you to know that after you finish singing this song and knowing what's coming, then after I deliver you, I'm going to put another song in your mouth. And then like Dawid said, then you're going to sing a new song to me. And the song is going to talk about my victory as a king. So you don't know what kind of king I am. And you don't know what victory I have until you go through it, until you see my victory, until you see my arm. Hallelujah. The last part here is the Makis. The Makis here deals with this Malkuth Makis. It deals with the kingdom and the taxes of the kingdom. There's a tax that Yah has given for the children of Israel inside of the Malkuth. You and I are just not aimlessly wandering around with no direction and no organization. We have leaders, we have a king, we have governors, we have secretaries, we have those who give accounts, we have officers. Okay, we got princesses, we got nobles, we got scribes. We're a kingdom, we're a Malkuth Mekis. And in our kingdom, there's an idea of taxes. Okay, and so our Melech, okay, or the Malakalnu, which is our king, is going to tell us what it is. He says in our Torah portion, he wanted them to take all the booty, all of the sha'el, okay, and both of people and animals, you, Eleazar the Kohen, the leaders in the clan and the community, and divide the booty into two parts. Half for the experienced soldiers who went out to the battle, and half for the rest of the community. So right there, you can see that there's this idea of sharing. There's this idea of equality. Even though they didn't go out and fight the battle, they're still part of this kingdom. And when they were sent, they were representatives of those tribes and representatives of their families and their clans. And so from the portion of the soldiers who went out to battle, I need you to levy a tax for Yahweh, consisting of 1/500th of persons. And what does that look like? 1/500 of the persons. And that's for in particular soldiers. This is what he wanted to take out of the people. Then what do you have here? And then Yahweh says of persons, cattle, donkeys, and sheep. That's the sha'al, that's the spoils. And then he says, take it from their half and give it to Eleazar the Kohen as a portion set apart for Yahweh. So I want you to give me that portion. And then he says, the other half that goes to the people of Israel, right? I want you, which are called the Edah, I want you to take 1/50th. So you got 1/500th from the soldiers, and then you're going to have 1/50th. Okay. What does this boil out to? This is 0.002, and this is 0.02. That's what it equals. Okay. And so if you did the math on it, then he says, I want you to take that half that goes to the people of Israel. You're to take 1/50th of the persons and of the cattle and of the donkeys and the sheep, that is all the livestock, and give it to them, to the Leviim to take care of, Leviim taking care of the tabernacle of Yahweh. Okay. So I need you to give this to the Kohen, and I need you to give this to the Leviim. Okay. The soldiers are responsible for giving this. Okay. The experienced soldiers, the Milkamah, are responsible given to the Kohen. The people of Yisrael, the Edah, are supposed to give to the Leviim. Both of these individuals, this family here, they're receiving this because they didn't go out into the battle, but they are in service to Yah. They're in what they would call avodah. That's what they are. They're avodah of Yah. Okay. The Edah here is the assembly, the congregation, and the Zeva right here, the Zawa or Zava is the army. Okay. So Zava is army. Edah is the assembly or congregation. The Edah, and then Avodah is the service. Those who are in service to Yah. So that's part of the Malkuth. That's part of it. Yah has an army, he has an assembly, and he also has those who are in service to him. Okay. And so when he talks about the people who are joining themselves, the foreigners will join themselves to the Edah. Okay. And more than likely, if they are with us, then they will also fight in the Zavah as well. Okay. But they will never be part of the Avodah ever, because those who do the Avodah are the ones who are in service. And that's where you get your word Avad, which you'll see in your handout, which is called a servant. Okay. Avad, but Avodah means to be serving. Okay. So through this Malkuth has this tax, because that's what a Mekis is. A Mekis is a tax. That's what it is. A Mekis is a tax. It's a levy, a tax. So you can see the Yah taxes his people as a king. And so what they've done is they went out and they got all the resources. The resources that we found were that which is the cattle. Okay. We found that the people, so the persons, the cattle, the donkeys, and the sheep. Okay. And then also too, they'd enlisted here, but you have the gold and you have the silver and you have the other metals and whatnot. All right. So you have the resources. So what we need to understand about our king, about the one who runs this Malkuth, has these taxes. And what this king is, he has what they would call his portion. So the king wants a portion for himself. Okay. That's what he wants, because the tax is for Yahweh. Okay. He didn't say the tax is for the Leviim. The tax is for Yahweh. That's who it's for. And that would be understood by that which comes out of the tax would be called a kelek. And a kelek is just basically the word portion. Okay. So that's the kelek. Okay. So he wants his portion. Okay. So this Yah is always interested in receiving a portion from anything, whether it's out of the ground for vegetation or farming, whether it's, from the tree, from the harvest time, or if it's from you squeezing wine and the grapes. Yah says, I need my portion. I want my kelek. I need you to give me a certain portion of that, because I'm the king. And every king, if you look at Shlomo, he would take portions. The people would give them portions, and they would take that because they're in rulership. So this is what Yah has set up. So the kelek that Yahweh has, and I want to share something with you about it, which is very interesting, is that even though the portions that were designated for each of the soldiers, what's wrong with my thing? Put it this way. All right, so the army had to give 0.002, and then the people had to give 0.02%. Okay, that's what they had to give. Overall, when you look at the portion that Yahweh received, this is the portion he asked for. And I'll prove it to you in my next slide. 0.001, 1/1000th. That's all Yah wanted. What does this say about him? What does it say that our king says, give me overall? His portion ended up being 0.001%. This is not a percent. This is 1/1000th of a percent. So our Melech HaKavod, our king of glory, says, give me 0.001%, 1/1000th. I don't want 1/10 of a percent. I want 1/1000th of a percent. That's what I want. That's what I want my portion to be. And I saw that by this number, it is reflective of Yahweh's character, and it's reflective of who he is. Yah doesn't need anything from us. He really doesn't need it. All of it belongs to him. And what I see here is that he's willing to share the spoils. That's the king that you and I serve. Because if he's getting 1/1000th of the percent, right? And he gave the 0.002 to the Kohanim, and he gave the 0.02 to the Leviim. You see, then what is it? What is it that he's really receiving? If you think about it, Yah is literally getting nothing. He's literally getting nothing from this. So what is that supposed to tell you and I about our king? Why is he in this? Why did he decide to take us as a people? Did he take us because the church would tell you that you owe him 10% of your tithes? Is this what he's about? Didn't he not tell us in the book of Psalms 50 that I don't need anything from you? Did he not tell you that your offerings, all of it belongs to me anyway? Did he not tell us when he married us at Mount Sinai? Did he not tell us that the whole world is mine? Is that not part of the marriage offer? So what is it he in it for? You understand? That's our king. Okay. That's something, isn't it? It's very telling. So who is, this is my question, another one who? Who Kelek? Who is the portion? Who is the portion? Because if Yah's only getting 1,000%, what is he really after? And I'm going to show you what he's really after. Get ready for it. Me anaknu. Me is who, and then are, that's implied. Who are we? Because that's anaknu. Who are we? Who are we? I want to tell you who you and I are. We are Yahweh's Kelek, because that's what a Kelek is. It's a share. It says when Yahweh gave each nation its heritage, okay, meaning its language, its culture, its land. When he divided the human race, he assigned the boundaries of the peoples according to the Israel's population. But Yahweh's share, Yahweh's Kelek, was his own people. Yaakov is his allotted heritage. And you can find this in the Song of Witness in Deuteronomy chapter number, or Devarim chapter number 32. That's part of the song. That's part of the song that he wanted us to memorize. That when I gave everybody their heritage and I gave everybody their land, I numbered them according to your population. Okay, which is really, I didn't choose you because you were many. I chose you because you were few. But I chose this share. So when Yah says, I chose you not because of how strong you were, and I chose you not because of how massive you were, I chose you because to me, what you really are, and I need you to hear me, and hopefully you won't break out in tears like I feel like crying right now. To me, Israel is this. They're the 1,000%. They're really nothing they're really nothing on the scale compared to all the nations. I didn't choose you because of your numbers. I chose you because what I want to do is I want to take you from this and I want to build you to the multiplicity of the stars that you see in this presentation. I want to take you from nothing and make you into the greatest thing that's ever happened on the face of this earth. I chose you because you are the least of people. I chose you because I want to do the work that I'm doing for you. It's not for me, it's for you. I get glorified when I see that I can take something from nothing and make it into everything. It glorifies me when I can take a people that I can scatter all over the four corners of the earth and gather them and bring them from nothing and turn them into outnumbering the sand of the sea. This is the reason why you and I are the portion. This is the reason why our numbers have been chopped down. This is why you and I are the 1,000% in total numbers. That's what you and I are. We're nothing. Yeah, I can take us and make us into something. That's our king. So we're who is the me, Kelek? Who is this portion? You and I are. You're the portion. And he wanted to tell us that. And so I want you to say something. Amar means to say, and T means I said, past tense, because it's on the end of the word. T is I. Okay. So I said, what do I want you to say? What do I want you to see leaving this class today in this Shabbat? I want you to say something. I want you to open your mouth and I want you to say this. I want you to say that I've cried out to you, Yahweh. I've cried out to you. And I said, that's a Marti right there. I said, that's a Marti. You are my refuge and my portion. You and I have been chosen by Yah, but you and I have to choose Yah. In order for the relationship to be bound, it has to be on both sides of the part. Both parties have to agree. You have to choose Yahweh out of all the nations. You have to choose Yahweh out of all the gods. You got to choose the one who's not as popular as the God of the New Testament. You have to choose the one that nobody knows his name. You have to choose that Elohim. He has to become your portion. You understand? And you have to choose him. I put this word, my portion, in two different colors because I want you to know the kelek is the portion, and this I right here is my in Hebrew. That's when this sound right here, this I sound, you just don't call it I. That's the name of the letter. But what's the sound? The sound is I, as in it, or sit, or it, pit. It's that I. So that on a Hebrew, I is, you put that on any end of any word. So kelki, 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 right here. You're my portion in the land of the living. This is what David said. That's what he said. He understood that Yahweh was his portion. He understood that the only one he could depend on was Yah. He understood that he couldn't depend on the nations. He understood that he could not depend on his mate. He didn't depend on his children. He never did. He had to depend on Yah. When he was in those battles, he wasn't dependent on his friends. He was dependent on Yah. When he was in war, he wasn't dependent on the counsel of them. He always consulted Yahweh, the word from Yahweh. And you and I can learn from that, but we can only learn that is when you and I accept and cry out to Yahweh and tell him that you are my refuge and you are my kelki. You are my kelki. Okay. You are kelki in the land. Atah, you are this to me. And Yah can be that to you, but you have to choose him. And it's advisable to choose him now before the spoils come, because they're coming. So that's what I say, Amarte. I say that I cried out and I chose Yah to be my portion. As you see in resources here, the Meccas that he got was 675,000 sheep out of the total number of the sheep that they brought out through that battle of the Midian. 72,000 cattle, 61,000 donkeys, and 32,000 female virgins. And Yahweh's Meccas on that was only 675. That's what it came out to be, 675. That's all he wanted. He didn't ask for 6,750. He asked for 600, and that's all he got, is he got 0.001%. That's what Yah received. Yahweh's portion was 72 sheep out of 72,000. You telling me 61,000 donkeys? Yah says, give me 61 of them for my service. And we like to complain about what Yah has asked us to do. What has Yah really asked us for? We can look at the numbers. What is the numbers don't lie. I know Yared understands this. He's a CFO. The numbers tell a story. So the story that I'm getting from this, and hopefully you can see it, out of 32,000 virgins, meaning those who haven't been soiled or those who haven't been in a binding contract with anybody, Yah says, give me 32 of them so they could do the service what we need done around the tabernacle and around the families. This is your Melech Kavod. He's not greedy. He's just. You understand? And guess who gave them the victory? He did. He gave them the victory. These were small tokens of appreciation. I go to the Zevah. The Zevah, again, is the Milkamah, the soldiers. That's who they are, battle. I noticed in the Torah portion that they were chosen. They weren't just somebody who just decided that they wanted to go because they just wanted to participate. They were handpicked. In our kingdom, in the Malkuth, you don't get to just do anything because you just want to do it. You got to literally be got called to it. I think Akolti Condra had stated one time in one of her teachings that you don't get to just pick to be a leader. There's some people supposed to do a job and others who can't do it. And it's okay, but you see everybody was benefited, and those who were not part of the battle were still supportive to it. But they were chosen to do this. They had a group of leadership over them. They had men over the thousands and those of the hundreds. Leadership is always going to be part of our Malkuth. And then finally, we understand that they had to be experienced. It said the soldiers that were experienced, they had training. This is what it was. So there was a certain type of mindset. There was a certain type of character. And the character that they had was a battle-ready mindset. And that's the idea that we want to surround our mind around. You are part of Yahweh's Malkuth. Whether or not you're fighting in a war, or whether or not you're sitting back waiting for those to come back from the war, you're still part of the battle. Your existence depends on their success. We all play a vital part and a vital role in our community. But I think the biggest battle that you and I have is the mind at this moment. That's our biggest battle. Our biggest battle is going to be making the decisions that are going to change our lives and have an impact on ourselves and our family. I think you and I are going to have to choose whether or not we're going to have our success in Yahweh, or whether or not we're going to still be joined with the nations. Are we going to separate ourselves from the nations and come and serve in Yahweh's army and to be part of the Yahweh Zavaoth Malkuth? Because he is the Melech HaKavod. He is the King of glory. That's the one who's going to Sa'ud the Sha'adrim. That's the one who's going to open up the gates, and all you Rashakim, all you heads of the gates are going to open up in Wayavo and let in the Pithkei Olam, to open the doors of eternity so the King of Melech HaKavod can come in. Hallelujah. Praise be to Yahweh. Have the battle ready mindset. You're faced with challenges every single day of your life. You wake up, you're in a war. Whether you want to believe it or not, you and I are in a war. You think that Yah says that you're still in the lands of your captives, that I'm going to take those that are taking you captive, or their captors will be led captivity, and they're going to be captives to you. Why? Because you're in a war right now. You're being held hostage in a land that's not yours, and they don't want to let you go. And the only one who's going to come and get you is your king. The ones that he put in charge of us were not living up to what he said. I don't care what a great king David was. He couldn't do it alone. He needed everybody to be part of it. Yah doesn't need us, but he'd like for us to participate and to be part of this venture, to be part of it, to understand what's going on. If your mindset is right, you'll be prepared for battle. Yah chose you. He chose you. He stopped at your house. And he had you ask some questions so you could know. Your desire to know what's going on. What is this Shabbat? What is this? What is that? He wants you to pick up a leadership mindset. There weren't just leaders in the army. Those people had to be leaders in their home. Different layers. On every level, there's going to be leadership. Yeah, I'm being led in the service. Yes. But am I a leader at home? Yes, I'm supposed to be a leader. Leader over what? The family. Leader over who? The children. I ain't just talking to the men. I'm talking to every last person who's an Israelite. And those who join themselves to Israel. You have to get the experience to be battle ready, to be battle tested and ready to do the work. And Ada is a community, but it's also a congregation and assembly. It says that the congregation had sent out their leaders to find out what was the end result of the battle. They were interested. They were not idly at home doing nothing with no care in the world. Ada means to be a witness, as we learned in our Torah studies. First letter right here is the ayin. And then that's the dalit. And that's what? Da, Eda. That's how you spell congregation. But in there is the ayin for the eye, which is the first letter, and then the dalit, which is the door of the eye. The door of the eye to see what? You're a witness to what? I'm a witness to the tabernacle. I'm a witness to what Yah said. I'm a witness. I'm an eyewitness. You understand? I've seen it. I've been there. I've done it. Well, I'm not a witness. I didn't see it. Do you open the Torah this week? You sure did. Why? Because you're an Edah. Because you're a witness. You're going and you're testifying to Yasha. Are you keeping the Shabbat today? Yes, you are. Then you are a witness. You keep the Moedims, the Pesach, the Matzot. You are a witness. You're not eating pork, are you? No, you're a witness. You're a witness. You wearing your tzitzis? You're a witness. You're a witness for Yahweh. That's what you are. So don't think that you got to be out in the wilderness right now for you not to be a witness. You are a witness. In the Avodah, you have what? The Leviim and the Kohanim. That's who they're in service to the King of the universe. Going back to what I said initially. Are we in service to Yah? These people out here, they're calling them some Kohanim and Leviim. They have the great intention. They want to do what's right. But guess what they're doing? They're doing what's right in their own eyes. If they would stick to what the Torah said, you would know that they're not in service to the King of the universe. Because if they were in service to the King of the universe, they would bring in him a portion to the Mikdash, to the Beth Mikdash, which is the sanctuary. If they were bringing something to Yahweh, there will be service and there will be offerings made to Yahweh. Are you and I his servants? Yes, but are you in service? No. You understand? We're not playing church. You understand? But to be in the service to the King of the universe has to be in the manner that he chose and has to be at the place that he said. Well, Dawid, why are you keeping the Pesach? Because we're memorializing the Pesach. Why are you keeping Feast of Matzah? Because we're memorializing Matzah. And we're keeping everything we possibly can. Why are you keeping the Shabbat? You don't have any offerings that you're supposed to give on the Shabbat. You don't got that one ox and the two rams and the 7 lambs. You don't have the daily offering. Why are you doing it? I'm doing it as a remembrance and to honor Yah's what he said to the best of my ability. I'm not changing up the rules. We're not. Yah has told us to, when you're there in the place of your enemy, you need to start thinking about it. And he said, do exactly what I said. If you know that the priests are out of service and they're out of commission, then I'm not trying to be a priest. My job is just to be your brother, to be Akika, to guard you, to protect, to be a wall of separation between you and the rest of the world, and say, I'm going to protect you. I'm going to help protect you any way I possibly can. I'll be that strong wall. I'm that Ak. You're the Akoti. You need to be that strong wall for your sisters and your brothers. Finally, what's next? What's next? What would be next for us as a people? What would be next for you? What would be next for me? I would always say it's completely up to the individual. I thought about the presentation that Koti Kavika did. She had her funnel at the end and she said, it's really up to us. So thank you for that. It is. It's completely up to the individual. You and I can choose to do what Yah wants us to do. You can choose to understand that you're in a relationship with a king that is beyond comprehension. The one who numbers all the stars in the galaxies. That's who we're talking about. You're not talking about a God that's made out of wood and stone. You're not talking about a God that died and rose from the dead and so forth and so on and cried and begged for mercy and none of that. You're not talking about a God who came and visited Paul in a shining light and tell him that you're going to suffer for my name. You're not talking about a God who never mentioned the name of Yahweh, not one single time. You're not talking about the man who claimed to be the God himself, but yet there was not one book or nothing ever scribed. You're not talking about the person who told you that I heard that it's been said, but I say unto you. You're not talking about him who died and who died on the cross to be, on a stake and put to shame, hung there naked. You're not talking, that's not our Elohim. That's the Elohim of the Greeks and the Romans. That's the Elohim of the Christians. That's the Elohim that Yah says, I'm going to find out. That's the rock of the New Testament that he tells you and I in his song that I want you to cry out to him and see if he'll get up for you. I want to see if he's going to stand up for you. I want to see if he's been standing up for you since you've been where you are. I want to see him stand up for you when the trouble comes, when the food shortages come. I want to see him stand up for you for your rights when you're getting shot down in the street. I want to see him stand up for you, you poor of the earth. And those who are not getting justice, has he stood up for them? Huh? Has he? The focus on us right now as Yah's people is simply because if the world is looking for any salvation, Israel itself has to be delivered first. And then the whole world would benefit off of our salvation, because we are the salvation of the whole world. Because when we get into power and Yah brings us back, we'll become the chief of the nations. People will seek the Torah at our hands, and they will come and seek it from our lips and ask us to take them to the mountain of Yahweh to receive the Torah. That's what's next. But it's up to you. It's up to the individual. It's up to us. If you're going to keep your word, keep your word. If you're going to keep your vow, keep your vow. If you want to be the kind of woman that says you are married, but I don't have to listen to my husband, I'll do what I feel like doing, then so be it. When you get back to the land, you will be replaced. If you're the kind of man who decides that you don't want to honor your wife, right? And you don't want to do what's right, Yah says your seed won't continue. You don't want to teach your children? You don't want to teach them the Torah? That's okay. I'm going to destroy you. You never stand before me, neither you nor any of your sons or your daughters. You want to cut your heritage off, like we learned last week? That's fine. I'll disinherit you like I did your ancestors that I told you about in Ezekiel chapter number 20. You want to worship another God and call out to him that you can't see, can't hear, can't smell, can't taste, can't breathe? Then you're going to become just like it. You won't see, you won't smell, you won't taste, you won't hear, you won't be breathing. You'll never exist again. It's up to you. It's completely up to you. You want to deny my Torah? You want to deny my judgments? You want to deny my Shabbat? You want to change my words? Then it's up to you. Because I'm going to pay you back to your face. Like I told you, it's going to be me against you, and no one's going to save you. Because once I do it, no one can deliver you out of my hand. No one can deliver you out of my hand. No one. I'm the one who maketh alive, and I'm the one who killeth. No one. Here it is. Where are their gods? The rock in whom they've trusted, who ate the fat of their sacrifice and drank the wine of their drink offering. Let him get up and help you, and let him protect you. See now that I, yes, I am he. There is no God besides me. I put to death, and I make alive. I wound, and I heal. No one saves anyone from my hand. Period. So, it's up to us as individuals. Hallelujah. 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 Any remarks, contributions, statements, thoughts? Praise.
Very intense lesson. Very intense. I'm gonna have to listen to this over and over.
Praise Yah.
Praise
I know it's
Yah.
intense, and I know that it's not easy to hear, but I believe we're on that path. Azania.
Shabbat Shalom. I just want to say I agree. Just like one of these lessons you can listen to twice. Really insightful. So much going on. I noticed there's a push on right now. There's trying to say that Israel is indigenous to the lands of our captivity, which makes us not cry out to the Most High, and ask for his rescue. And I noticed that this push is coming from the nations. They're bringing on anthropologists and things like that to say, well, the truth is the people also called African Americans. You're really indigenous to the Americas, and all this stuff to make us not cry out and ask for our rescue. And I just also want to say, because I heard you speak and watching your other teachings this week about, the people making comments about the Hebrew. And I was so happy with Akati Rivka giving the fun. I love the because it makes learning fun, when you do the various puzzles and things like that. There's always people trying to get into our nefesh. The Most High gives us something that He wants us to have, and sometimes it might be years before He reveals the reason why He's given that specifically to you. And here comes our big mouth brother or sister putting their business in it and trying to create a dialogue between you and the Most High. Yeah. And it's just, and we have to, I'm realizing more and more, my husband and I were just talking about that, keeping that place between us and the Most High sacred, between my husband and I and the Most High sacred. If nobody but you and Akati Rivka speak Hebrew, then so be it. Hallelujah.
Hallelujah. Hey, but you know what it is? It's like you said, it's an attempt to get us off of the cry. It's to kind of condition us to like, okay, well, everything's cool. Let's just keep going where we're going. Let's just keep working and going to job, and then we'll keep doing study and stuff like that. And we never have this idea of crying out saying, hey, Howo Chienu, Elohe Yeshenu. We're not asking Him to save us. We're thanking Him that He's our Elohim, but we're not. To me, what I've been learning, I need to start crying out. If I want to get out of here, I have to cry out like they did in I Am.
Hallelujah. Yes.
Open your mouth. You understand? Yes. You can't sit here and just sit on your hands. And if you understood the situation and you knew exactly where we are.
Yes.
And who's in charge?
Yes.
These people are out here fighting so-called war, but did you see the Zelensky? Did you see him on the GQ or something, or Vogue magazine? This man is taking photo shoots.
Yes. Yes.
But they're playing around with our gas, and they're playing around with our food, and they're playing around with us.
Yes.
Ukraine is at war. What's that got to do with us?
Right.
See, so we need Yah. We need Yah, and we need to be about Him. And the fact of the matter, I know the lesson was really intense because, look, we're not dealing with a human being. I just want us to all understand this, that when He tells us to sing this song, He's telling us to sing it because there's going to be another song that comes after it. Yah's interested in it. So when you read the Psalms, and you know those songs, those are songs of victory over Yah defeating all of His enemies. That's what those songs are about. They're not little accolades about how wonderful He is. Only it's about what He plans on doing.
Yeah.
So when you read the Psalms now, you'll be like, wait a minute, that's the reason why He just gave me this song. This is the reason why He's saying it. He's telling, I'm going to kill everybody except for the ones I'm going to spare, but I'm going to do this for you. I'm about to show you victory. I'm about to show you what a real battle is like. I'm going to show you what war really is. I'm about to show you what being in battle is, a milkama. You're going to know that I am the Melech HaKavod when I destroy these people. Then you're going to see, then you're going to know that there is no other. I am He. Yes, I am He. There is no other God. He's doing that to show us who He is. I don't want you to believe nothing. Don't believe nothing I'm saying, because I'm going to show you. Then you'll know. That's what I'm going to. I need to show you, Israel. Because I've been talking to you and talking to you and talking to you and talking, and you haven't listened to nothing I said. But guess what? Talking is over when I come. I'm not talking to nobody.
Hallelujah. Hallelujah.
This is serious business. I hope you understand. This is serious business. We're His people.